Okay, one of the things I've been playing with a little bit is squirrel traps and trapping squirrels. And what I've done is I've modified a Victor rat trap. This is just your basic Victor rat trap. You can buy at Home Depot or Lowe's for a couple of bucks, $2 I think. And the idea is we've got some pretty big gray squirrels around here, and I wanted to see if I could make this trap a little more lethal, a little more reliable. And so what I've done here is I've tried to mimic basically a conibear or body grip trap. So what I've done is I've taken a piece of wood and I've used some brads and tacked it down just inside where the jaw will strike. And when this trap fires, the jaw is going to strike right around the edge of this, and so this sort of, you can see, will pin the animal's neck a little bit better. The other thing I've done is, rather than replace the springs, I simply added some torque to the springs. What I did, and I hope you can see this on the video, is I pried up the bottom prongs of the springs, placed a piece of wood under it, and then tacked them down with some wire brads to hold it in place. What this does is this adds some extra force to the springs. This allows you to get more power and more striking force out of the springs than you normally would. It's like winding them up a little bit extra. So this is a simple way to modify a rat trap. Anytime you're using a rat trap, this is a good modification to do. It doesn't cost any money, it doesn't hurt the trap, and it does nothing but make it hit harder and hit a little bit more like a body grip. And one of the problems that I ran into when I started trapping squirrels was I had a lot of problems with non-target species tripping the traps or taking the bait. For instance, if I used a trap, just a rat trap, and I attached it to a tree and then baited the trigger with peanut butter, a lot of times I would have raccoons or possums that would climb up a couple of feet up the tree and get the bait, trigger the trap, and of course the rat trap's not going to hold a coon or a possum. So what I wanted to do was to eliminate non-target catches, and I wanted to direct the animal directly onto the trigger so that they couldn't work the set from the side, they couldn't work the set from the back or anything like that. So what I did is I went to sort of a weasel box type setup, and a lot of people up north, we don't have weasels down here, we don't trap them down here, but a lot of people up north use weasel boxes, and they use these Victor rat traps to trap their weasels. So I've adopted something similar for squirrels. Now, in everything that I do, I try to keep everything as simple as possible with as few moving parts as possible, and to make it as cheaply as possible. So a lot of people make fancy weasel boxes that have hinged lids, they have joints where the lids slide in and out, and I didn't want to fool with anything like that. I wanted it to be as simple as possible. And so what I've done is I've simply put a screw eye on each side of the box. There's one over here, one over here, and I put a piece of number 9 wire through it and looped it around, and I give it a little bit of play, and the lid just comes in and out like that. You see it's in and it's out. This is very simple. There's nothing to buy at the store. Wire is cheap, and you can adjust the tension on this real easy. You can make it very tight, you can make it very loose, something like that. But to set this trap, all I do is I simply put my bait in the back, and usually for bait and squirrels, what I'm using is some corn and some peanut butter back there, and I slide my rat trap in it, and you can see this is my lid. It just has a 2-inch, this is a 2-inch hole that I cut with the hole saw, and I simply put it in there like that. And at this point, the trap is set, it's baited, and it's ready to go. And since the trigger is just inside the door, usually when you make a catch, you're going to have the squirrel partially in and partially out. So it's pretty easy to tell if you've made a catch on a gray squirrel or not. But anyway, this is very simple, very easy to make, very safe trap, and it works. By putting it inside of a weasel box, I don't have birds landing on top of it. I don't have coons or possums crawling all over it and setting it off. And the animal has only one and only one way to work the trap, and that's from the front, and that's right through the door. And this is just a very simple way to keep the door set, and that way I don't have to spend money on hinges. I don't have to spend time doing some woodwork or anything. You can just hammer or screw these boxes together out of scrap wood, and you're ready to go. You could also, if you built the box a little bit bigger, you could put a 110 conibear in there and use it for to house a 110 conibear. It's just this particular box is not quite that big, so I use a rat trap in these. But anyway, something to think about. You can always beef your traps up, make them a little bit stronger, hit a little bit harder, and try and make everything as simple as possible, with as few moving parts as possible. I don't like spending money on hardware if I don't have to, and the hardware store may not always be there when you need it. So, something to think about.